And we are rolling on May 23rd here at UCLA.
The sun is not shining.
Where it's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. Eat your heart out, East Coast. And we're about to hear a personal commitment from Sydney, who stands before you managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. Our very own John Wooden. Today I'm going to tell you about my personal commitment to never giving up. I'm going to share with you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to never giving up, and 3 actions I've taken to achieve this. I want to tell you about this today because nothing in life is ever handed to us, and I want everyone to understand the importance of working hard to achieve your goals. The first reason that I'm personally committed to never giving up is because I know from experience that it allows me to achieve my goals, especially when it comes to dance. As some of you may know by now, I've been dancing my entire life. But I was not born with any natural flexibility or natural balance. I had to work really hard to gain those traits as a dancer. And one time, when I was 13 years old, in front of my entire team, all 75 of us, one of my old coaches said, "Sydney, you're not flexible and you can't turn, so you might want to pick a different sport." And when she said this, I was so embarrassed. It was a real low point for me in my dance time. But looking back on it, I'm actually really happy that this old coach of mine said this to me, because from that point on, something changed. I started to work way harder. I put in way more hours doing all this extra stuff that most people were not doing. And just 1 year later, I was being placed into top-level dances at my studio, and my coaches were acknowledging my hard work. And 5 years later, I graduated from my dance team and received the Most Valuable Dancer award. And this really inspired me because it shows that you always have to prove people wrong, and not everyone is going to give you that push that you want, but it's important to never give up and not let that stop you. So that is one reason why I'm personally committed to never giving up.
Great.
The second reason that I'm personally committed to never giving up is because it builds character. Sometimes, even when you try your hardest, you don't succeed. But what's important is the lesson that you can learn from this. Just recently, at UCLA, I tried out for the dance team. This was an absolute dream of mine. It was something that I knew I wanted to do even before I was admitted to this school. And I spent this entire year putting everything I had into this goal. I was practicing all the time, going back to my dance studio that I'd already graduated from to get extra practice. And tryouts came around, and I made it to finals, but did not make the team. And I was absolutely crushed. I was in bed for a day. I didn't know how I could go the next year not doing this dream of mine. But the important thing I learned from this was that you really can't ever give up. And I wasn't going to let this stop me. I wasn't going to let it ruin my next year at UCLA. So I decided I was going to practice harder, try more, and come back even better next year. And that is the second reason why I'm personally committed to never giving up. Third, I want to share with you 3 actions that I have taken to achieve this goal of never giving up. First, I've decided to continue my dance training. A lot of people stop their dance careers after high school, but I've decided to come here to UCLA and get a degree in dance, and to show that I'm not giving up on my passion. Second, I try to surround myself with people who support me. My parents have always been my biggest support system. My mom and my dad have both come to every competition I've ever had, and they've given up so much for me to be able to do what I love. And I try and surround myself with people like that. The third action I have taken is that I myself try and keep a positive outlook on life. I think that if you want to achieve a goal, especially my goal of never giving up, I have to believe in myself, and that has to come from within. And when I perform these actions, I feel strong, I feel like I can accomplish anything, and I feel like I will accomplish my goals when I perform these actions. So in total, I have told you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to never giving up, and 3 actions I have taken to achieve this. There should be no doubt in this room that I'm personally committed to never giving up on my goals. So as the great John Wooden said, do not let anything you can't do interfere with what you can do. This is a quote that really has a whole new meaning to me, and it's something that I've really taken to heart here at UCLA and throughout my whole life. And I really hope that each and every one of you in this room will either listen to me or listen to John Wooden and take these words to heart and never give up on whatever it is you want to accomplish in life. Thank you.
Thank you.
522.
522. Thank you. All right, let's start on this side.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Very nice speech. Excellent job. I think your message really resonated with everyone. We can all relate to striving for what you want to achieve in life and not letting setbacks get in the way. So I thought your message was strong and effectively conveyed.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily.
I liked how genuine your speech felt. I didn't really find anything that really stood out to me. I guess if I'm being nitpicky, you kind of take like breaths that are a little long, but like, that's me so nitpicky because I couldn't find anything else. So.
Just don't breathe.
Yeah. Take a deep breath and let it go. Okay. Good. Well, Sydney, thank you for going first. I love John Wooden and his quotes. They're wonderful. They're pithy. They're helpful. And some people think they're Capricorn, but I think they're really good and really on point. And if you can get over your sophistication, you can find a lot of wisdom there. Well, you tell us you never want to give up on your goals, and you told us about the significant statement about how, not everything is handed to us, and we've got to strive. So that was fine. On your main body, your first reason, you told us of, I'll make a biblical reference and call your dance instructor a doubting Tom, who said you have no balance and no flexibility and you should try wood shop or something else. Two stories about that. One of my debaters that won the national championship, our third, was told by his high school debate coach that he had no aptitude for debate and that he should try welding shop. And he should go into welding as a life's work. And when he won the national championship, he was very pleased to send him a picture of himself with President Reagan and say, take this and stick it somewhere. So he felt very vindicated. So that's enough. You get the idea. But, you point out something very important, Sydney, because some people go, I have no talent, I have no flexibility, and they go away. And they crumble and die, and they choose to do something else, or they choose to say, I'm going to work on my flexibility and balance and get my act together. And you did have a happy ending, being awarded the most valuable dancer 5 years later. And that shows, character and determination, as you point out in your second one. I thought you were most authentic in your second story where you told us where you failed. And that took a lot of courage to tell us that you wanted to be on the dance team. You worked hard for it, and they said, no, 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 no. And that took courage, and that was very genuine and authentic when you told us that you couldn't get out of bed. You cried, you were sad, you were crushed, as you put it. And then you decided to gather yourself back up and try again. And really, that's all you can do. Keep it going, as a popular pop song once said. Yeah. So I thought that was your best authentic part of the speech. On your actions, they were all consistent with your PC. Oh, you're interrupting my class. Okay.
I know what to do.
Okay. On your PC, on your personal commitment actions, they were all consistent with your PC. And I thought that the positive attitude when you're faced with some doubts was especially good. You had the fourth point of saying, how you feel when you take these actions. Your summary, your conclusion was good, and your tie back to John Wooden was excellent. Your canais, you said you wanted to have more vocal variety. Be natural and show passion. How'd it go?
I thought that the passion and vocal variety felt better this time. I tried to show more emotions and be more genuine, so I feel like I was better with that. Of course, I can always do more, but it definitely felt a lot better from the film speech. Being natural, I think it felt pretty good. I think I was maybe a little more nervous for this one because the format is the same but felt slightly new from the film speech.
It's a little different, yeah.
But yeah, overall I thought they went pretty well.
Good. One thing I want you all to notice is at the very end, it almost became a persuasive speech, didn't it? Because you said, I want to suggest to all of you to follow John Wooden's advice, which is a form of advocacy, isn't it? Which is why we do these speeches in this order, because we first do what we personally are committed to, and then we go from our personal commitment, keep that, and go find a persuasive topic that we're personally committed to. We have the passion for that, and it works out very nicely. So you did a very good job. Thank you, Sydney. Okay. Okay, let's find some more A's that are ready to speak, huh? So, let's hear from Alan. Hi, Alan. He's from the Armani Exchange. Oh, great. It's a good place to be from. I guess. Okay. Alan stands before you in the power stance, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi everyone, I'm Alan.
Hi, Alan.
Robin Williams once said, I think the saddest people try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it feels like to feel absolutely worthless and they don't want anyone else to feel like that. Today I'm going to tell everybody about my own personal commitment to make others around me happy. I'm going to give you 2 personal stories from my background and 3 actions that I take to make people happy. I think this is significant because people are so focused on themselves and their individuals that they do very little to look around them and care about how other people feel. Ultimately, the saying goes that you will be remembered by how you made people feel, not exactly what you did. The first story I'm going to tell you guys is about when I was in elementary school. People say that they peaked in high school when they're captain of a football team. I actually peaked in elementary school. I was very popular amongst all the elementary kids. I was very innocent. I'd get in trouble with the teachers, but everybody loved me. And recalling those days, it seems like, you know, we did things for each other. It was almost like a community. Everybody was so innocent. Nobody really cared about themselves. They just wanted to have fun. You saw a group of kids laughing, and you had no idea what was said, and you would just start laughing. And it's kind of important to try to go back towards that innocence. I try to bring that like elementary school feeling back to adult life, essentially, by making people feel happy, making people feel innocent again. The second reason that I am personally committed to making people feel happy is that I followed in my father's footsteps. My father passed away when I was about 13 years old while playing soccer. And I remember going to the funeral, and in Armenian tradition, you sit down and you have a row of people just come and basically give their condolences. And I had never seen such a long line of people. A lot of these people I had never met before, and they just come up to me and tell me a personal story that I never knew about my father. And something like how my father had done something in their lives, how he made them happy. And just to see all these people that were inspired, all these people that had a story about my father, I want to follow down in that same pathway. I want to leave an impression like that, just like my own father did. Right now, I am taking 3 actions to follow in my father's footsteps and making people happy. The first thing I do is I do jokes. I'm really bad at jokes, so oftentimes my jokes are terrible, like this joke that I'm currently doing right now. Has anybody noticed that Isabel constantly gives oranges? She constantly eats oranges, and she never offers them to anyone else? Like, what's up with that, Isabel?
Who's Isabel?
Wow, calm down.
And jokes are just the simplest and easiest way to make somebody laugh quickly. They're really stupid most of the time, but it's really easy just to make somebody's day with a stupid joke like that. Like, we get it, Brian, you like movies, you know. We just unfortunately, not everybody likes jokes. They are oftentimes, I might offend people, so I've been called an asshole, arrogant, selfish, all that stuff. So the best thing to do in those situations is actually just to listen to people. It's something that I've noticed that if somebody's having a bad time and you make a stupid joke like that, they're probably not going to laugh and they're probably going to like be upset. So the best thing to do in those situations is just to listen to them. Letting the people vent to you oftentimes will just make them feel better, make them feel happier about their own situation. So to me, if you can't make them laugh, you might as well just listen to them. That will help out. The final thing I do is probably the dumbest thing I do as well, is that I buy people things a lot. On average, I probably spend around $50 to $100 a month just buying people Starbucks, gifts, and people often ask me, like, what is wrong with you? Why would you spend all of your hard-earned money on stuff like that? And the explanation I always give is something simple like this. If buying somebody Starbucks, which is like about $5, can make a person's day and make that person happy, like, you don't know what that person's day was like. You don't know what they've been going through, what's going on in their family. If something so small as $5 can make a person's day, then I'm going to do that every single time. And the joke now is that if you want to hear shitty jokes, have your food paid for, and have somebody listen to you, just hang out with Alan. So those are the 3 actions that I take. In summary, I've shown you 2 reasons and 3 actions that I take to show my personal commitment of making others around me happy. There should be no doubt in this room that I try very hard to make people happy. And I hope to leave a legacy like Robin Williams and my father did on this earth. And once I pass away, I hope people remember me that, he made me smile, he made me laugh. Thank you.
Thank you.
4:55.
4:55. Very close. Okay.
Hi, I'm Louisa.
Hi, Louisa.
I really liked your speech. I think you were genuine, and I like how you interacted with my audience. Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
I really liked your speech as well, like the Christmas stories. If you can watch something. I don't know if you said how you felt about.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
I liked how you were like relaxed about it.
That's a good point. We always bring our emotions back into it to make that connection. Well, this is interesting speech. Gosh, we quote Robin Williams, who has given me so many laughs and yet made me so very sad when he committed suicide, and ended his life that way. And yet this quote really says something about him too on another level, because it says, I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless. And they don't want anyone else to feel like that. If this was going to be a self-revealing speech, I was thinking you were going to tell us something about your feelings of inferiority that motivates some of this, but we didn't hear that, and I don't even know that that's so, but it was a thought that came to mind. So, your thesis preview was good. Your SIG statement, excellent. Your main body, you talked about elementary school, the good old days when there was an era of innocence, right? And you try to hold that thought in your mind, sadly, as E. E. Cummings wrote, and down they forgot as up they grew. And sadly, we forget those times of innocence and happiness as up we grow, right? So, yeah. So I guess I got that as your first reason, although I wasn't really real convinced by it. But your second story was more convincing about your father's death and the long line of people that shared personal stories about him and the relationship they had with him, and this turned out to be very inspiring. My one suggestion would have been to have heard a story or two here that they told that especially inspired you. It was just ripe for something like that. So, on your actions, you say you have a proclivity to make jokes and lots of jokes, and you made a joke about the orange girl, and great, and I guess that was funny. And then you say you listen to other people, show that you really care, and that those are really good things. And then you point out that you demonstrate your kindness. You take actions by buying people Starbucks or drinks, things like that. Those were all good and consistent with your PC. Although, I think that this whole thing about was really, it would have been helpful to know how you're defining happiness and how you're defining other people's happiness.
I would like a 30-minute speech though.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of tricky because the definition was all over the place in the speech. Your summary was good. I would have liked to have heard there should be no doubt in this room I am personally committed to making other people happy. And your tie back to Robin Williams was excellent.
It was actually a different tie back than what I had. I thought of it literally as I was saying, so I just changed it.
Yeah, it's fine. Your connives. Strong tie back. Don't end abruptly. Pace yourself. Don't rush. What was the time, by the way?
It was
4:55? Yeah, I got it there. Okay, good. How did you do on your connives?
I noticed different things that are issues now, but in those 3 connives, I think, good. I did forget that one part about how those 3 actions made me feel, so that's something I missed. So don't miss parts of your speech. Don't say I caught myself as I was saying it once, so I have to work on that now. So I have new connives.
What about the pacing?
4 minutes, 55 seconds. There was a little bit of a delay because I was waiting for everybody to stop laughing during your little segment. But if I had not missed things from my speech, then it would have been perfect time. So I'm not too worried about that.
One thing, when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you'll see you still doing a little bit, even when you're in the power stance, you're still doing a little swaying. So a little Tai Chi would be helpful. Thank you so much. Okay. Are you an A? Yeah. We have a volunteer A. Yay, A. Yay, A. Okay, this way a little bit. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, Vidya is in the power stance. She stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, my name is Vidya.
Hi, Vidya.
And today I want to talk to you about my personal commitment, which is keeping in better touch with my family's friends back home. I'm going to share with you 2 reasons why I've chosen this as my personal commitment and 3 things I've done to work towards this personal commitment. And I'm going to tell you why it's significant. And I think it is, because at some point or the other, we're all going to move away from everything we've ever known, whether it's our home, whether it's our friends, our family. And at that point, perhaps you can find some solace in my experience and see if you can maybe take something away from it to use for yourself. The first reason, okay, so about keeping in touch and traveling, right? Miriam Adney once said that you will never feel completely at home again once you travel. That is the price you pay for the richness of loving and knowing people in more than one place. And I completely agree with this, right? The first reason that I agree with this and why I've chosen this as my personal commitment is because when I met with my 2 best friends back home, is we went through high school together, and it was one of the most like interesting, crazy, scary experiences of our life. And we thought, because we were best friends, we'd never lose touch. But what happened recently was, through college, because I moved here, because of the time zone difference and things like that, we never really kept in touch the way we were meant to. And so one of my best friends graduated, and I didn't even know. And when I spoke to him the last time, I asked him, why didn't you tell me about the things that were happening in your life? He said, I never knew when it was a good time for you. That made me feel really, really guilty, because it meant that I hadn't taken the time or let him know when he could talk to me, or that he could talk to me about anything at any time. The second reason that I'm personally committed to keeping in touch with my family and friends is the way my relationship with my brother has changed. Now, my brother and I were always very close. We were in the same school, we're only 3 years apart, and we talked to each other about everything, which meant I never really had to tell him what was going on in my life, because he kind of already knew, maybe like a funny anecdote here or there, but there was nothing I really had to explain to him about how my everyday life worked, because he was right there with me. But once I moved here, I realized that because we didn't live together anymore, because he'd never even seen my college, and I no longer knew how his life worked in the military, we had lost that sort of touch. And so even though it was intuitive for us to change our relationship and the dynamics of our relationship, where we spoke to each other as if we were friends rather than just brother and sister, I realized that it made me really scared, because if we weren't in touch with each other, then we turned into those siblings, and if we didn't know how to talk to each other, we turned into those siblings who never really kept in touch and only spoke to each other maybe once a month and didn't really know each other that well. Now, these two things really affected me. I felt really guilty and sad and scared. And so I've chosen this as my personal commitment, and I've taken 3 actions to motivate me forward and use it in helping me with this commitment. The first is I've taken the time to do the time zone math, as I like to call it, which is figuring out when a good time it is for them to speak, whether in Singapore or India or even in Europe, and see that I can figure out what good times are for us to keep in touch, and that way we can both have convenient times to talk to each other. The second thing that I have chosen to do is that I've chosen to try to manage my time a little bit better, so that I can keep time aside where I can speak to them for a good chunk of time, rather than just speak to them for a minute and then have to hang up because of classes or homework or something like that. Because I end up managing my time better, I end up speaking to them more, speaking to them about more important things, and speaking to them deeper than just surface things about how are you, how is your day. The third thing that I've decided to do, and that I have been doing, is taking initiative. Whether it's a weird Snapchat with a weird face on my face, or a bad joke that no one has ever laughed at and is just super cheesy, or just emailing them memes or something funny that happened in politics, like the president dancing in Saudi Arabia or something. And these sort of things, even if we don't really have anything to say to each other, or nothing really meaningful has happened that I need to share with them, just this sort of thing will make it easier when I actually do have something to share, because we've spoken more recently. And so I've shared with you today 2 reasons why I feel the need to maintain this as my personal commitment, and the 3 actions that I have taken towards this end. It's like Maria Madney said, this is the price you pay for the richness of knowing and loving people in more than one place. But I think this is a worthy investment of my time, because this way I can move forward in my life and enjoy all the new experiences that come with college and living in America, without feeling like I've left my life back home, or I'm no longer in touch with that part of my identity anymore. This way, I get to keep in touch with everything, and it's not just the richness of knowing and loving people in more than one place, but the privilege of it that I get to experience now. Thank you.
Thank you.
452.
452. Okay.
Hi, I'm Alec.
Hi, Alec.
And I really liked your speech. I liked the passion you had into it, and I think my favorite part of it was how the reasons that you have this personal commitment presented a problem, and then all 3 of your examples presented the solution. I really liked that setup of it. I thought that was really strong.
Thank you, Alec.
Hi, I'm Luke.
Hi, Luke.
It was a great speech, and you're even a little bit, you're in the perfect time slot, but it did feel like at certain times you were rushing to get through what you were saying. You were speaking a little too quickly, so maybe you could just take some more pauses, and the time will be the same, but I think your message will be communicated more clearly just by slowing down.
Yes, let's start with that, Vidya. Thank you so much. Let's start with that. I want to see you edit. I want to see the next speech with less content, and I want to see you go slow. pause. Can you do that? And then carry on. Watch yourself tonight. You're almost in a race. You were very quick. Now, I know you're smart and quick and all that, but you know, you need to learn a range, and a more emphatic style of delivery will make you more effective if you emphasize keywords. Well, you were all over the place in your intro. You didn't start with Miriam Anne, whoever she is. Who is she?
She's just like this all-time poet.
A what?
An author.
Author. Well, tell us that. Okay. Author Miriam Anne told us, you know, you can never go home again. It's different. It was a good quote, and you tied back to it, so that was fine. And you pay a price, and you agreed with that. Your thesis was fine. Your SIG statement was good, except really quick, and but you did relate it to your audience, so you understand the SIG statement. On your first reason, you talked about the fact that you had two good friends and you lost them or lost touch with them, sort of, and this makes you sad. And you don't like this and you feel guilty and you've lost touch and it's kind of, you feel bad. And so I bought that, and that seemed genuine and real, although if you were speaking slower, your sadness and your remorse would seem more genuine. I feel sad. I feel bad. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel guilty. On your second reason, your brother, 3 years younger, and now he's a stranger in the military. And you feel bad about this one. Same comment. Slow down. You said, I'm scared of losing touch with my sibling, and let us really feel your fear that you really are scared. Okay? Yeah. The three actions, you do the time zone math, manage your time, and send pictures and jokes and things like that to fill the time rather than just, hi, how are you? You skipped the next part, which was, and when I do these actions, I feel good. I feel like I'm making progress toward reestablishing my relationship, and this makes me feel good. So don't forget to reintroduce the feelings. Remember, it's going to make your speech sticky if you've got that emotion going. Summary, good. Tieback, conclusion, yeah. Let's talk about your canais. You said walk persuasively. Don't say voice modulation. Proper modulation. How'd it go?
I think it could have gone better. I think my walking was slightly better this time than it was last time. At least it was like more natural, like more genuine about it.
Yes.
I think voice modulation, I tried to do it, but it may have been drowned out because of like the pace of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And with I think I caught myself doing it a lot less than I did the last time.
Yes, it's definitely getting better. I would like to see you practice your final persuasive speech with a yellow marker where you actually take, 10 minutes to do it. And really do it slowly and yellow and emphasize key words and say you're going to stress a key word in a sentence or a quote so that you really make the meaning come out, and you have, I want to say, a real emphatic style of delivery from you. Overall, good job. Okay, do we have any more volunteers? We're here at D. Sure, why not?
May I borrow your stapler?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you're out of staples.
No, I think it's me. I'll do it. Jam. Yeah, whoever went downstairs got the wrong size. Okay. We be golden. Chiara stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect. She's reading, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, I'm Chiara.
Hi, Chiara.
I recently came across a quote that says, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel only read a page of it." I will admit this quote was from Pinterest, but I don't think it should be devalued or trivialized for this reason. Because coming from a family like my own, a wanderlust family, I see the value in this quote, and I hope that after my speech you will as well. Today, I want to talk to you about my personal commitment to traveling. I will give you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to traveling, as well as 3 actions that I have taken in my life to demonstrate this personal commitment. Obviously, traveling is a huge financial investment, and it's up to the person to decide whether he or she wants to invest in it. But in my eyes, I see traveling as an amazing way to invest in yourself, because it develops your personal character in a way that's far beyond any classroom setting. So the first reason why I am personally committed to traveling is because traveling has allowed me to claim my independence like nothing else. I think people think of their first independent moment as when they get their license or, when they come to college. For me, my first independent moment, I remember so clearly, was when I was 7 years old, going on a plane for the first time all by myself and traveling to another country. My parents dropped me off at LAX and handed me over to a flight attendant and trusted this 7-year-old version of myself to make it to the other end. And this was a scary experience in the moment. I remember crying on the plane and, not being able to let go of my parents. But then when I realized what I was doing and I was sitting on the plane, I remember feeling so independent and so confident and powerful, because it was the first time that I wasn't just someone's sister or someone's friend. I was myself. And I had to trust my instincts and trust who I was. So that's why I'm personally committed to traveling, because it allowed me to claim this moment in my life and made me feel incredibly independent. The second reason why I'm personally committed to traveling is because traveling has pushed me beyond my comfort zone so many times and shaped who I am today. I was born with this really odd fear of being afraid to ask for help. I don't know what it is, but it's just the way that I am. And so this summer when I was traveling, my phone was stolen, and it was traumatizing because, as you're traveling, your phone is your navigation, it's your translator, it's everything. So I was forced to ask people for help, which seems so small looking back on it, but in the moment, I was so scared to do it. But I had to, so I asked people for help, I asked people for directions and all that, and slowly I was able to overcome my fear. And I'm really grateful for being pushed in this outside of my comfort zone to be able to overcome this fear. And I really attribute traveling to this, because I wouldn't have been in the situation that I was. Now that I've told you 2 reasons why I am personally committed to traveling, I'd like to share 3 actions that I've taken in my life to demonstrate this personal commitment. This summer, I was lucky enough to go on a Euro trip with my best friend for a month. and it was an amazing experience, very eye-opening, of course. But I was most proud of myself for this because I was able to demonstrate my discipline, because I've been saving money since the 5th grade to go on this trip. I watched a movie and I was inspired to go on this amazing adventure with a friend, and so I from that moment realized that I wanted to do it. So I saved money since the 5th grade. The second action that I've taken is I've started to plan my study abroad program here at UCLA. When I was choosing schools, I was really interested in the programs that schools had, and it was a huge consideration in my life. And so I've taken the first couple of steps to plan my program to hopefully study abroad next summer. The third action that I've taken is it's kind of unrelated to traveling, but more in the way that traveling has shaped my personal character. I want to be as philanthropic and selfless as possible, and traveling has opened my eyes to want to give back to people in need. So I ran for a position in my sorority to be philanthropic chair, so I could help those and make a difference in other people's lives. So in summary, I have told you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to traveling, as well as 3 actions that I've taken in my life to demonstrate this personal commitment. And there should be no doubt in this room that I'm personally committed to traveling. So if the world really is a book, and those who do not travel only read a page, I don't want to be that type of person. I want to read all the pages as much as possible for as long as I can, because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I'm personally committed to it for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Time?
4:57.
4:57. Perfect. Okay, where are we? Here. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Malia.
Hi, Malia.
I think you did a really good job with your speech. I think that your stories are relatable because, even though some of us don't go on a Euro trip for a month, we've all traveled somewhere and feeling that sense of adventure. I feel like everyone wants to travel, so I thought it was very relatable to your audience.
Good, Malia. Improvement. Name.
I'm Isabel, the orange girl.
The orange girl. Hi, Isabel.
Really good speech. I like how you gave an example of something you're afraid of. I think that's really personal, good to share with an audience. The only thing I would change is, not change, but work on it. Sometimes when you're thinking about what you're going to say next, you look down a bit, or you're where are your hands? And it's probably just nervous. Just be aware of it.
That's good, and the video will pick that up, Chiara. Well, you chose to start with a quote about the world is a book, and those who do not travel only read a page, and you tied back to that. So that was a perfect quote for what you wanted to talk about. You had a good transition to your PC and your overview. Well done. Your SIG statement was fine. On your main body, you shared with us your first adventure at 7 years old, where you were transformed from a wailing baby to a blubbering baby to an independent little girl who felt good about traveling, and I guess it was to Italy or something. And you said that this was a very scary yet positive experience. So that was a sort of a good, somewhat private experience that you shared with the audience. Okay? Your second reason was you said you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, and you said you fear asking people for help. I don't know how far this fear goes, but one of the things, maybe it's just my personality, but one of the things I discovered in traveling is it's fun to meet new people, to go into a pub and talk to people, to go to a table where people are having a good time and sit down and talk to them. And so you said your phone was stolen, and this forced you to ask for help, right? Yeah. I was stuck in Paris, and I had 40 minutes to get to the airport, and this kind young man on a very fast motorcycle said, "I will get you there," and he did, with me holding my suitcase behind me, and we roared through traffic and we made it. And I've had help from strangers, and just by asking. On your actions, you save money. You've planned to study abroad, so you look into that program, and I strongly recommend everybody do it. It's just a great program, and it's when you've already traveled, but it's where I've noticed a real change in people. Both of my children did it, and it was very positive, for them. On the philanthropic thing with your sorority, that sounds consistent with your PC. You did skip your feeling state, which would have made this a little more sticky. So let's all remember to star our fourth point and not skip how we feel about the action we take. Summary was good. Conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room I'm PC to traveling. And then you tied back to the book quote. Your canines do not sway. Transition from one point to the other effectively. Make eye contact with everyone in the room. How did it go?
I did not notice that I was swaying. I mean, I remember my first speech I swayed a lot, and I really tried to work on that. So I'll hopefully watch the YouTube video and see.
Yeah.
I think I transitioned well. I think I kind of ended my idea.
Yes.
I think the only thing would be to not skip that fourth part.
Right.
Talk about my overall emotion from taking those three actions.
Yes.
And then I tried to bring my
attention everywhere. My only other final point was I would just like to see you not be afraid to share more personal stuff about yourself. It's very compelling and very it makes it for a very authentic speech. Okay? Thank you, Chiara. Okay, that will bring us to Olivia. She already went, okay. She volunteered. Let's see. We've had Alan. Oh, Moses. Time for Moses. Time has come, the walrus said. Speak of other things. Don't come any further forward than the green line, please. Thank you. Moses is in the power stance. He's managing attention. He's communicating respect non-verbally. He's finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hello everyone, my name is Moses.
Hi, Moses.
When I came to the state at the age of 16, I met a guy named Peter. He was an undergraduate student who was a pre-law at the UC Davis, and we met at the church. He asked me this question in the first meeting. Moses, what's your dream? And I said, I wanted to become the president. And then All of a sudden, he became so serious. He grabbed my shoulder, looked into my eyes, and say, "Hey Moses, I really, really believe in you, and don't let anyone discourage you." It was really shocking. Today, I want to share with you my personal commitment to be very supportive and loving to the people around me. I will share with you 2 reasons why and the 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate that about my personal commitment. Why am I here? Like, how can I be successful? But moreover, how can I be happy? These are the questions that we all try to find the answer. And I believe that to be loving and to be supportive to the people around us is the key to all these questions. My first reason why I'm personally committed to be loving and supportive is because it changed me completely. I was never good at studying. I always failed tests, and the teachers and students never take me seriously because I was a bad student. You know, when I reached the middle school, I gave up on my dream to become the president because I could not see the future in myself. However, my mom, who I consider as one of my best friends, disagreed. Every day she would just open up the Bible and read these encouraging verses that God loves you, Moses, and you can do it. Or she would just like find some interesting story about these great figures like Abraham Lincoln or George Washington. And I hated it. I hated it because I thought she was overestimating her son, just like typical parents who thought their children are cute when they are not. Nonetheless, I began to change. Seeing somebody who knows me well, have 100% trust in me, suggested me that, maybe I can do it. Maybe I should try. So I gave it a try. Although studying was never exciting, by the time when I graduated high school, I had the highest GPA among my classmates. The second reason why I'm committed to this loving and supportive attitude is because it helped me when I struggled with my dream. Have you ever set a goal, just simple goal, and then within 24 hours you just gave up? Like, okay, I will start exercise, I will study hard, I will be more productive. But within a day you just gave up. It feels horrible because you see yourself as like, oh, I can't really do it. You're upset with yourself. Happened to me as well. My dream is to become the president. I don't know how many times I gave up, I forgot, or I just couldn't see myself doing that. The story goes back to the guy named Peter. When Peter spoke to me and when he asked me about my dream, it was when I forgot about my dream for a very, very long time. But it was the moment when he was giving me support and show his loving attitude towards me that it reminded me of my dream and gave me strength to continue to pursue my dream. Third, I want to share with you the 3 things that I'm doing, 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate my commitment. I listen, I help, and I pray. I listen. When it comes to personal stories, when it comes to people's dreams and their vision, I try to be very supportive and very loving, no matter how crazy it might be. I wanted to be the president. I've never seen a person who had an unrealistic dream than I do. Secondly, I try to help, especially when it comes to things that I already done, like writing an essay, applying to the program that I did, such as quarters in the Washington program here at UCLA. I try to help students apply to the program, writing essays, and to be prepared for the interview. And lastly, I pray. I believe in the power of prayer. Not only that, I think prayer is to show my friends and my family that I constantly thinking about them and I care about them. So, I'll share with you 2 reasons why I'm committed to loving and supportive attitude and the 3 actions that I've taken to show how committed I am. There should be no doubt in this room that I'm really committed to support and to give love to my friends and the family. I want to go back to the story that I told you in the beginning. Peter, it's been 5 years since I met him, and ever since then, we continue to have this wonderful relationship together. And 2 years ago, Peter, who was a pre-law student, himself passed the California bar exam, and now he became a human rights lawyer and he's continuing to pursue his dream. So if I may, I wanna do the same thing for you guys. I wanna grab your shoulder, and I wanna look into your eyes and say, I really, really believe in your dream. And I really believe that you can do it. So don't let anyone to discourage you. Thank you.
Thank you.
5:39.
5:39. Okay.
Felix.
Hi, Felix.
I really like your speech. It seems like you have a lot of passion for being committed to this, and it seems like you are very just like enthusiastic about helping everybody out and very intrinsic on your expressive help.